Hello, my name is George Pingho. I am a kidney transplant survivor. I live here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I've been here for 40 years. I went through the early stages of kidney failure in 2005, ended up being on a dialysis machine for 3 days a week, ended up with a transplant in August of 2007, and it has been 9 years since the transplant. It's done well. I have adapted emotionally, physically, and have been able to never miss a day of work. The polycystic kidney disease involves cysts growing within the kidneys and taking over all kidney function. The end result is that you end up with literally no kidney function at all. In addition to that, because of the nature of the cysts, your kidneys get to be twice, or in some cases 4 and 5 times larger than they should be, and end up taking space in your abdominal cavity. I have been fortunate. It's been 9 years and counting. My sister's is 11 years and my younger brother's is 6 years old. So we've all gone past the 5-year threshold. An interesting feature in our family has to do with the types of transplants and the donors. So in June of 2005, my sister received her transplant and the donor was her son. In August of 2007, I received my transplant from someone who passed away. 3 years later, my younger brother received his transplant from a friend. So we have one of each story in our family, and all of us have done pretty well with it. I still have a hard time dealing with someone having to pass away so I can live story, but unfortunate but real. The dialysis treatment started on August 15th, 2005. It's funny how you remember these dates. And that went on for 2 years, until August of 2007. 2 years and 2 weeks to be exact is how long I was on dialysis. 3 days a week, 4 hours per session. The challenges of dialysis, it depends on how you adapt yourself to this really drastic change. 1 week you're normal and doing what you want to do anytime you want to do it, and now all of a sudden your entire schedule is structured around 3 days of the week so you can live. In my particular case, I was fortunate. The kidney dialysis center was exactly 7 minutes from my office, which made it very easy for me to get to my office at 8:30 in the morning, work till 11, leave the office at 11:15, be at the clinic at 11:30. By 11:45 I was on the machine, pulled out my laptop, logged into Wi-Fi, continued to work with one hand while one hand was on the machine because I wasn't going to lay around and do nothing for 4 hours. One of the other things I was able to accomplish over the years, I've been wanting to write a book. And of course, now I had all this time on my hands. And so I started writing a book that was based on all the old gospel hymns I grew up with. It's a work in progress. I did take one of the chapters and turned it into an audiobook.
Gardens are special places. They are represented in many varieties, from the elaborate splendor of botanical gardens to the simple rows of vegetables in a patch of dirt.
I didn't complete the last 7 or 8 chapters because of the call I received on August the 27th, 2007 saying, come get your kidney. I was a Monday and went to the office as usual, left the office at 11:15, at the clinic at 11:30, on the machine at 11:45, finished all of this up, went home at about 4:30. About 9:30 the phone rang and it was Duke Medical Center with a phone call that said, can you be here in the morning, but we will confirm first thing in the morning. I couldn't sleep that night, of course, because this sounded like the real thing. So on Wednesday morning, which was the 29th, the phone rang at 5:30 in the morning, and I was asked to be at Duke by 11 o'clock. And that evening, I was rolled into surgery at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. I woke up the 30th morning, 8:30, looked around, my family's in the room. I looked to my right, I have a morphine pump in my right hand. I looked to my left and I have a BlackBerry in my left hand. I looked again and it turned out I had sent 30-some emails and they were all spelled correctly. Getting used to dealing with a new kidney, the medication, the levels of medication, it really didn't affect what I was doing, it just affected the amount of work I was doing or I was comfortable with doing under that much medication. First couple of months were a little more difficult because you really didn't know what was causing what you were feeling. However, as time goes by, your body adapts, your mind adapts. For example, half of the medications we take, all of them say two things. You may get dizzy. Do not make any financial decisions. Now that would be tough in my line of work, so I had to take it piece by piece, checking my work twice, and in some cases 3 times before I would let it go, let it leave my office. One of the big issues that is a challenge for patients is how do they come up with the extra money to survive, because it's really expensive to go on treatment. And no matter what your insurance deductibles are, there are other expenses that you incur that make it really, really challenging. So sometimes for some folks it gets down to a challenge between, do I pay my power bill or do I get my medication? I knew that I was going to be dealing with this, so I called my insurance broker and I said, I want the Cadillac medical plan you have. I ended up with a policy in 2000, 2001, and at that time it was $1,400 plus per month. Starting in 2005, along with Medicare, my premiums are now up to $2,400 per month. And fortunately, I was in a position to where I could afford it. I think the system needs to be a little more instructive on what to expect depending on each individual's particular circumstances. And I can tell you of story after story where there were folks who had needed help. It turns out that a larger percentage of the population is affected by this than we ever thought to be true. The same thing is happening in countries around the world. It's not just a local problem, it's an international problem. My father passed away in 1976, same kidney disease, no dialysis machines, no nothing. So we're thankful, and hopefully the next turn and the next sequence will lead us to what we've all been working for, and I'm sure it'll happen.